Creating good landing pages can be quite tricky, and even more if you don't know the principles of a good landing page or in general for a product page. And to be fair, I'm also not really into creating landing pages, so most likely I'm breaking a lot of common rules here. But that's also exactly the reason why I have created this automation here. And before we have a look into the specific nodes, let me show you where you can find it. And it's available either in my GitHub repository init templates under the folder landing page analyzer, but you can also find it in my free school community under YouTube resources. So let's have a look into the workflow, and we start pretty simple with a form trigger where we capture the URL and also the email address. So in this case, we are going to analyze this landing page. But the first important piece of this workflow is actually this HTTP node here, because we are using here the API from Firecrawl. And by the way, if you're doing any kind of web scraping, then I can highly recommend Firecrawl because this API is quite reliable and you can really scrape a lot of different things like just the markdown, HTML, internal, external links. You can take a screenshot, and it's even possible to get from a page a branding object so that you know exactly what kind of colors are used, fonts, and so forth. And the reason why this workflow is also using Firecrawl is because, first of all, we get the markdown, so the page content, so that we know exactly what are the headings, call to action, and so forth. But we also grab a screenshot from the complete page, which is here. So we get a link to download it. And due to the screenshot, we can also provide more information to the large language model, which will result in better recommendations. And once we have the data, we get the meta fields, so like page title, content, the language, description, and of course the link to the screenshot. And after that, we pass this data to this specific node here where we are using the API from OpenAI. So quite simple. We have here the GPT-4.1 mini model, which is also good enough to analyze the content. And the only task from this specific node here is to extract the headline, the subheading, the value proposition, credibility statement, and also information regarding to the call to action. And in order to be able to get always this specific structure here, we are using also a structured output parser, where these specific key value pairs are defined. So hero headline, subheading, value proposition, credibility statement, call to action text, and also if it's something under the call to action, then we capture this as well. The next step is then to take this specific content here that is returned by the page analysis, and then we pass this to a large language model, which is in this case Gemini 2.5 Pro, because this one is also able to analyze pictures, which means we have here a specific prompt where we pass the output from the previous node, so the most important information for the landing page, but we also provide the URL to the screenshot so that this model is not only able to analyze the text, but also can see how the page looks like. And by the way, as I mentioned in the beginning, I'm not an expert in creating landing pages, but that's also the reason why I have this specific prompt here. So I have checked a few YouTube videos on people that apparently know how to structure and create landing pages. And then I extracted the transcript, summarized it, and created a prompt out of that, which means that these recommendations here are kind of fact-proofed. And in the final step, we take the output from the image analysis, which looks raw like this, but in order to be able to create also an image that can be easily understood and also look structured, we take the content from the analyze image node and create an HTML document out of that, so that we are able to pass something that is already styled to the Gmail node. And in the final step, quite simple, we download the image because we want to also attach it. So in this case, we can see that here's a complete landing page. And then this data is passed to the Gmail node. So we have here the attachment field, the email address that has been entered to the form. The email type is HTML because we converted the answer from the large language model to raw HTML. And of course, we have the subject, which is quite simple, landing page analysis for the specific page that was entered into the form. And in this specific example, the result looked like this. So we get, first of all, a headline and also hook analysis with a recommendation, then a design and also cognitive load analysis, again with the same pattern, so always the observation and then also a recommendation. The third chapter includes an offer and also trust analysis, and the last chapter includes a summary and also kind of an action plan with the top 3 recommendations on how to improve the conversion rate for the specific page. So that's it about the video. As you saw, quite easy. In case you do have any questions, feel free to add them to the comments. And of course, feel free to download the workflow either from GitHub or from my free school community.